So in terms of fluid properties, again, we're going to talk density, specific weight, specific gravity, viscosity, vapor pressure, specific, again, specific volume. That's for what? On pipes? There really aren't a lot of, they used to have they typically don't have iteration problems. All right. So you got enough information to calculate the friction factor directly. They've gone away from that. I haven't heard of them in a long time. Back in the days, back in the 2010s, they used to have them in there when they had the open book. But with the CBT, they've pretty much gone away from that, Jeffrey. Okay. All right. So on page 3, these, if you can remember them as best you can, in cubic foot of water, 62.4 pounds. The most important one here is that we'll be dealing with, cubic foot of water, 62.4. We'll talk about this a little bit. There's 8.34. So some of these, if you can remember some of these, it's best. I mean, other than that, it's in your handbook. And the best way to search that would be during the exam is put in commonly used equivalents. The one we're going to be most interested in is this 2.31 feet of head for pumps. And this is just for water. So in other words, for every PSI, for instance, when we want to convert to vapor pressure, this is the equation that we'd end up using it. That essentially comes out of this one here, 27.7 feet of water, which is the same as 2.3 feet of head. Could do the conversion factors in there on the net positive suction head available. Again, the fluid properties, we talked about that on page 5. Physical properties of the fluids, viscosity, kinematic. And I mean, it's not one atmosphere, but the numbers are good. That's all you got in the handbook, so you don't have to go through the conversions on them. Then you got your properties of water that we went through. Okay, essentially. Again, the key takeaway on that is you have your temperature. You should use the appropriate value to that. So now fluids are basically categorized as ideal and real. Ideally, they're real. Real fluids are basically Newtonian fluids, which is that the viscosity is constant under applied force. That's your gases, alcohol, steams, and all that type of stuff. But you get not too much so for ME, PE, ME exams. You get into slurries and stuff like that, polymers and concrete. Concrete's a good one. That's basically, it's not a Newtonian material. So on page 207, we start out with the definition of density. Basically, it's a change in mass over volume. Then what you have is specific weight. Did we go through this on the, I don't know if we went through this on the thermal side. Everybody familiar with G over G sub C? I got a handout if you need a little bit of help on that. The whole thing about that is what this G over G sub C essentially is. For SI units, it's just rho times G in terms of specific weight, your gamma value. What you end up having for US units, you have a G over G sub C. And the whole point on that one is to convert pound mass to pound force. That's really what that's all about. So G sub C essentially is 32.2, which is what G is, right? And really does the conversions from pound masses to pound forces. So anybody needs a little help on that, I got a handout that goes into it a little more detail. But anyway, the other one too that you have here is specific gravity. That's all related to of the material. Specific gravity of oil is typically like 0.8 or 0.9 or something like that. Yeah, Janelle, send me an email through the School of P, and I'll send you the handout to that. Well, we'll see that. We're going to be doing problems on that here in the class, and then just to make sure that you get that. So specific gravity is all related to the density or specific weight of water. Good average numbers for density. If it's not given, if you're not given the value in the temperature value in the problem statement, you can use 62.4. Technically 62.43, but 62.4 is close enough.